Hello, and a warm welcome to the unit of competence, manage design and construction of garments. And before we move further, I will wish to request the students to make sure that you sign in by typing your name and your admission number on the chat box as a way of managing the roll call attendance. Now, let's remind ourselves of what we had learned the previous class. In our previous class, we talked about display of garments, and one of the things we looked at our tools and equipment that are used to display garments, and an example was given as hangers, mannequins, and also display tools. We also looked at the reasons why we do display, and we said we do display for the sake of uh, showing the customer how to wear and also to increase the visibility. Now, I want us to move to today's topic, session title, which is to develop a fashion design portfolio. And before we move on to understand how to develop a fashion design portfolio, I will wish us to look at the learning outcomes for this title. And one is to define terms as applied in fashion design portfolio development. 2, explain how to execute a design brief task. And 3, develop practical use of CAD skills with application of aesthetics, concepts in design, and presentation of a fashion design as per the brief task given. In a nutshell, I'll say that we will have a brief task that at the end of this lesson, the learner should be in a position to execute it after understanding the elements or stages of how to undertake a brief task. Now, what are some of the terms that we find when we are dealing with fashion design, portfolio development? We will hear terms like portfolio, we will hear terms like brief, and we'll also hear terms like a fashion mood board. Now, a portfolio is usually a visual presentation of a designer's skills, exploration, experimentations, and ideas so that you can send a clear message of what you are talking about. Then we also have a brief, and this is usually a set of instructions given to a person about a job or a task. And lastly, you will encounter what a fashion mood board, some books will call it visual board, inspiration board, or storyboard. Usually it's just a summary of inspiration images, materials, swatches, streams, and etc., trying to give the concept about the collection that you want to do. Now, before we move on at the stages of how to develop the portfolio, I will wish that we look at a video and then we can comment on that video. So I want to share a video. Let us kindly watch the video. Then after we watch the video, we can easily understand what we really want to look at. So welcome. I'll stop the sharing, but we have looked and really understood, we have looked at the steps. So I will want you to group yourselves in groups of 3 and identify the steps or stages that are to be included when we are doing, when we are trying to look at development of the portfolio. So identify the stages in your groups, then we can proceed. So to proceed, as you identify those stages, so we have a brief task here, which you're supposed to handle it, and it's the Mwangalis are a young couple intending to do a family photo shoot. They have a 9-year and a 7-year daughter, and they are requested your expertise in designing a printed fabric for haute couture garments using Adobe Illustrator. We have what you're supposed to do there, and also including the deadlines. Now that the task has been given, the elements that you've just watched are somehow illustrated here that you will need to identify a theme, a garment style, a shopper group, a target customer, the occasion, color, price, and age of the wearer. Then you will start with your source of inspiration as you're making it. Make sure that you are giving us your source of inspiration, and you need to make sure that you develop at least 3 motifs so that you can use them for the print of fabric. Then we move at development stage, and here you're showing us how the photos that you have had are inspiring you to come up with sketches as illustrated in the pictures there. Then we also have garment presentation. Kindly choose a croquis that can work well with you when you're doing the garment presentation. Then also do technical illustrations. Technical illustrations are for the cutting department. They need to understand where the darts will be located, the trimmings that they need also to buy. Then make sure you do a budget, which should be inclusive of the cost of the material, the labor, markup percentage, wholesale price, and retail price. Make sure you look at a book done by Patterns by Joseph Armstrong. It will be of help to you. Then as you present your work, present it in a hard copy and also in a soft copy. And lastly, there is a rubric guide to guide you on how we are going to assess this so that you know what we are expecting at each stage when you are working. If there will be no questions, I'll say that I will want to end by summarizing what we have just learned. We have said that when you're doing a fashion design portfolio, there are things that we will encounter, there are terminologies we will find, like the brief, we'll find portfolio, we'll also find a fashion mood board. These terminologies are key for you to be able to understand how to go about a task. Secondly, we have looked at the stages of how to develop, and I've given you a video which you have watched, and I've also tried to explain the key concepts to include in your portfolio by also giving you a brief task. And lastly, there is an assignment for you to execute a brief, to execute a portfolio development with the brief task about the Mwangalis doing a photo shoot. Thank you for your time and have a good time until we meet next time. Goodbye.